rave, but that's not rave, Simba. That's more like techno. But well, they're calling it rave for whatever reason, but techno. Okay, so let's see if I remember my OBE VR lucid dreams this morning. I sort of had like 3 of them. They kind of ran in together. Yeah, now it's freaking hard to get up out of bed because it all of a sudden started getting light at like 6:25, and then I automatically, it seemed like I would just like wake up at 6:25 because it was freaking light out. And I still wear something over my eyes, but I kept waking up at like 6:25 because it'd already be light out. But then when we had to set the clocks back, when we sprung back, you spring back and fall forward. But we had to spring the hour back or whatever. We lost an hour, so now it's still freaking dark at 7 in the morning. And so now I'm having a hard time getting up at like, 7 o'clock or 5 after 7 or whatever. And it takes me so long to get ready. But eventually it should start getting lighter and lighter by about 6 eventually. But okay, so yeah, that's why I have to hurry up and talk about this experience, otherwise I will forget. And I didn't feel like typing it out because it takes forever to type it out, word for word, blah 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 blah. So it's better just to remember it and not to type it out. But so let's see. Okay, I started off. This is OBE VR Lucid Dream, and I started off in like an auditorium. Joel puts me in lots of auditoriums, like an auditorium college type of thing, and it was my sister was there with me, and there was a bunch of other peers and stuff that were there, and then and it lasted a long time. We were talking and walking around and stuff, socializing. Okay, so then all of a sudden we walked out of the auditorium and into okay, well, this is where I can't remember what scene, the bathroom scene. I can't remember if it came after I think it came after it was before the basketball. Actually, I think the movie scene was after this. But I'm gonna talk about the bathroom scene, and then the other scenes, the basketball and the movie theater scene, and then there was a basketball scene or whatever, gymnasium. Okay, so oh yeah, and Joel's put me in many gymnasiums too. Like I was gonna be, like I'm going to a spectator basketball game or something, and then we're like sitting up there. We're walking up there in the bleachers and blah, 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 blah. And man, it feels so awesome because it just totally feels like you're in a different dimension. Most of all these experiences do. Okay, so anyway, so then me and my sister ended up, and it almost seemed like, I don't know if we were completely underground, but it almost seemed like we were partially underground. Like you just kind of go down a few steps, and we were kind of halfway underground, like the bathrooms were like halfway underground, but maybe not completely underground, like in a little tunnel. Oh, I just heard my turtle fall back, jump back into the water. Okay, so anyway, so then so my sister and me, we were walking through the bathrooms, and all the stalls were on the left, and it seemed kind of like the floor was kind of dirt-like, and it just seemed kind of dungy and gross down there, kind of like you're in a basement or something. And I was smelling that poo-poo smell, and so I told my sister, I was like, man, somebody like took a dump or something, because, well, that part was virtual reality and everything. You know, I'm able to smell smells and everything and taste stuff in my scenarios. I do in most all of them. And anyway, so we was walking by and I could tell somebody like took a dump in one of the stalls, you know, because you could smell it. And I told my sister that too. So after we walked along the stalls, the bathroom stalls, and a lot of times I'll actually go in there and like sit on the pot and blah, 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 blah. But this time I didn't. So we were just kind of like, it seemed like we were just kind of walking through there to get to the next scene, which was the, well, like I said, I can't remember which one came second, third, fourth. Well, if I really thought about it, I could probably remember, but I'm not going to try to remember. Okay, so anyway, so we went to the next scene, and then, and actually I know this was the last one, but I'm going to talk about it now. And then we went up to, it's like we were going into the basketball, like, gymnasium. And like I said, I'm pretty sure that was the last scene. But anyway, so we started walking up, like, some stairs, and we were going to be spectators of, like, a basketball game. Okay, and that was the last scene, even though, and man, I hate that when I have all these other freaking bleed throughs. Because I've also had many scenarios where I would walk into a gym and be working out, be like shooting hoops, blah, 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 blah. So that scenario came back to me, and that was like many, many, many years ago. And those I never did talk about, because that would have been way before I was doing videos. But that one just came back to me. It's so weird. From many, many years ago. Okay, so after that scene... Okay, hold on, because there's two more scenes. I want to make sure I don't forget. Okay, the basketball. The auditorium. Movie theater. Okay, the bathroom scene. I think that's like, you know, I'm including that in with the 4 scenes. But hold on, let me just make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Because I have the movie theater one. And that was the most significant one. That's why... Well, that's why I'm talking about the video, because of the movie theater scene. And shit, more is trying to come back to me, because after the... Oh yeah! Okay, this part just came back to me. But anyway, so there was also a mall scene. But I'm just making sure I'm not forgetting the significant scenes. The movie theater, auditorium, the bathroom, basketball. And then that other part just came back to me. Okay, so anyway, and like I say, these aren't, if these were, you know, A experiences or B plus experiences, yeah, well, you know, I'd remember them like a lot. I mean, I remember them, but I remember them exactly. And actually, the last scene was the movie theater, which I think I already said that, and the mall parking lot scene. But anyway, so after the basketball scene and everything, me and Mom end up at okay, I can't remember if my sister was there or not, but my mom shows up at the movie theater. And so after the bathroom scene and the basketball scene, we end up in a movie theater, me and my mom. As far as I remember, my sister was not there. It was just me and my mom. My mom happened to show up in the scene. And okay, so it was me and my mom, and we were contemplating on, you know, like what movie we're going to see. And we picked a movie, and it was already like starting to get dark in the movie theater because they were about to show the movie. And we were... like we were sitting like way at the very front row. Not really the front row, but almost kind of like where there's like two and two seats at the front of the front row, almost kind of like for disabled people or something, and there was bars right there. We sat there. I can't remember if it was actually for handicapped people, but that's what it kind of seemed like. So we were over to the right, like here's the movie theater. Except in the scenario, it was completely backwards. We were the opposite direction, but here's the movie theater screen. and then me and mom were to the right here, way at the front 2 chairs, or the front 2 seats over to the right, of the movie screen, and then there was a bar right there, like a bar. Because some movie theaters, I think they do, as far as I remember, they do have bar, or they used to. They have bars, like at the front of the handicap seats, and so that was kind of like, that's where we were sitting. Except in the scenario, it was completely backwards, and what I just, it was completely. We were standing, the opposite like direction. I was standing there the opposite direction, and the movie screen was behind me. And so the seats that me and mom were sitting at was actually to the left. Okay, so then it started to get dark, and mom was trying to tell me, oh, like, why don't you go get some popcorn? And I was trying to like hurry up before the movie started. So I was going down, like, behind the movie screen, there were all these like hallways or aisles or whatever, hallways more like. There were at least 3 or 4 hallways, like behind the movie theater, and then I noticed it just kind of started to get darker and darker and darker, and then it became so dark where I was walking around, and I couldn't even tell which aisle. I couldn't really tell which aisle, that I started down, or which hallway that I started down, or whatever at first. When I first went down the first hallway to go get some popcorn, it started to get so dark. I was like, man, which one did I even go down? But each one of them would have still came out to where the movie screen and stuff was, and I still could have found my mom and stuff. But so then it started to get, like I said, it started to get darker and darker, and I couldn't see anything. It started to get very foggy and everything. Okay, and then so then. Some people already told me that there was like this mascot looking Bigfoot that was walking around. But the thing is, like somehow I knew that a lot of people thought it was a mascot, like a mascot for the movie theater, like Bigfoot walking around. But so so like I say, it started to get all foggy and dark and smoggy, and I couldn't see anything, or I could barely see. So I was walking around the one hallway, and then I saw Bigfoot walking down the far end hallway. He started walking down, and I was like scared shitless, and because I saw him clearly and everything. I mean, he was freaking a Bigfoot, some kind of Bigfoot entity, and I don't believe it really was Bigfoot, though. I believe Joel created this experience for me and put Bigfoot in the scenario. And I did have Bigfoot on the brain and stuff because, I was watching that Jersey Devil show, and then they had all these Bigfoot videos at the right side of YouTube. And so he came around the corner and started walking towards me and shit, and I was like scared shitless. Because deep down, I knew he was real and that he was not no freaking human masquerading as Bigfoot, or a human, with the Bigfoot outfit on. I knew he was freaking real. He felt real. He was real. And so, but I was like scared. And so I was just trying to figure out, shit, should I go down this hallway to get away from him? Because like I say, I could barely see when I was back there walking around. But I could see him coming around the corner. And then I went down one hallway or aisle or whatever, and then he was walking down that aisle, and then I hurried up and turned around and went down another one, and he I thought in real life Bigfoots are supposed to be like a lot bigger and a lot fatter and bigger, but in the scenario he was actually probably about 6'2", and not real super big. I mean, he was like a thinner Bigfoot. Like, I just always thought Bigfoots would probably be a lot taller and a lot wider, but I don't know. But yeah, he was a freaking hairy ass Bigfoot. And all I could see, he was all brown with hair all over him, and his hair was all dark brown and shit. But he was total Bigfoot. And so eventually, well, like I say, he's supposed to be, like, I knew that most people thought he was a mascot, but I knew he was freaking real. And I was like scared shitless. And so anyway, okay, so after, if it wasn't for the Bigfoot, I probably wouldn't talk about this scenario. But okay, so then after that, after the movie, I walked out into the mall parking lot. So apparently that theater was attached to the mall. I walked out into the mall parking lot. And then I started noticing all these cars where the like the windshield was busted out and the back was busted out and everything. And I told my mom, I told her something. I was like, what did I tell her? I said something like, oh, I could see the thieves had been here or something like that. I said something like that to her. And that scene I almost forgot. But that would have been the last scene. And so that was kind of cool. And as far as I remember, at that time it was dusk outside. It was dusk to dark outside when I saw all the broken windows of the cars. And I know Joe would just put that in here because yesterday I was driving up to go home, driving up my street, and there was a car and somebody busted out their back window, and there's no glass or anything, so it must have all fell inside the car, and they haven't fixed it yet. So we do have car break-ins around here. We've had before for many years, but I don't leave my car outside. And then today I noticed, finally they parked again at the side of the road and the side of the street, and it's still busted out. The person hasn't fixed it yet or anything. It just happened, I think, 2 or 3 days ago. But yeah, so that's why Joe put that in here. But anyway, the Bigfoot was kind of cool. But anyway, okay, I think I said everything about the bathroom, the college auditorium, movie theater, Bigfoot. Yeah, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some things, some tiny details that I probably, want to remember. But these are just kind of like C+ experiences. But the Bigfoot was pretty cool. And like I say, I was scared shitless. And he had a certain energy about him, you know what I mean? He did not feel like no human that was dressed in a Bigfoot suit. He was freaking Bigfoot. But like I say, I don't believe he really was a Bigfoot entity. Sometimes the entities do show up in my experiences, but this was just created by Joel, my reptile alien being that gives me all these experiences. Thanks for listening.